Hi guys, it's Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to do your handover video on this Autocruise Starspirit. It's based on 2007 Peugeot Boxer chassis, and so we're going to start over here on the left hand side. So we've got the engine battery here on the left, so we've got negative terminal at the front, positive underneath the cover at the back. We've then got your brake fluid just here attached to the servo behind, power steering fluid here in this reservoir at the front. Engine oil goes in through this cap just here at the top, and then your engine oil dipstick is the green topped one down here at the bottom. You have got an extra oil filling point just here if you find it easier, just there as well. So your engine coolant is just here. This is the reservoir for that. You've got fuses and relays inside this box just here, air filter inside this box just here at the front, and then your washer fluid goes down here as well. So on the front near side, we've got this, which is your fuel filling point. So you will need the ignition key in order to open this up. Inside the passenger door in the cab, you've got access to some fuses inside this little cover just here. Plug box, obviously. Well, that's about it really on the near side, to be honest with you. I'll show you a lot more when we get around the other side. So you've got your step switch just here inside the habitation door. See, the step comes in and out really nicely. Your freshwater filling point is this whale system just here. So basically in the cupboard just here, you've got this, which is a whale submersible pump. So essentially what you've got is you take this little cap off, if I do that quickly, plug this in to here, whichever way around, like so, and then this drops down into a roll-away tank. So the idea behind that is that if you don't have access to a hose or something like that, then you can get water into the vehicle at, wherever you are, basically. So that plugs into there, drops into an outdoor tank, and then sucks the water through into there and then into your fresh tank. I will also say, inside the little cover there on the floor is really good access to the top of the tank with a big screw, which I'll show you in just a minute because that's where the drain is as well. But if you ever needed to fill up the fresh tank without this, you can do so just from the top of that cover there. So there's a couple of options on that, on the fresh tank filling point. So as I just showed you, this is just basically a storage locker. You can also get access to the bottom of the sink and the tap just there, which is really helpful because normally with the motorhomes, when we have to replace the taps, they're an absolute nightmare, but this would be nice and easy. Then got the leisure battery over here on the left hand side in this locker, and a bit of extra storage here on the right. Any bits that are in here have just basically been left by a previous owner, so you can keep hold of all of that. But yeah, leisure battery is just down there in that locker there. There is a cover for that, which is just here. Basically sits over the top of that. Easier with two hands. I'll do that in just a minute. But that's that. That's where your leisure battery sits, and then we've got more storage in here. So at the back of the vehicle, we've got the big wide window here, and then you've got the tow bar down here at the bottom as well. So that's about it really at the back. Boiler vent just here, so if you do have the boiler lit up on gas, you'll be able to feel hot air coming out through either side of this vent just here. Down below we've got your wastewater drain off point, so this is basically just where you drain out the wastewater. If I just show you, you've got a couple of little clips underneath to hook it back up to just there. Gas locker, I'll just let this go past so we can hear it. So the gas locker itself, you've got space in here for 2 of these 6 kilo propane bottles. To turn the bottle on, we go anti-clockwise around to the left, and to turn it off, we go all the way down clockwise around to the right. And that's it really. You've got 1 full 6 kilo propane bottle in here at the moment. So I've got the van hooked up at the moment, as you can see there. So having the hookup cable plugged in gives you access to a load of things that you can use. It also means that your leisure battery will be being charged up all the time that's plugged in. If you've got the fridge lit up on gas, you should be able to feel warm air coming out through the top of this vent just here as well. And any condensation that builds up just above that is absolutely normal. Last locker on the outside is this one, which is your toilet cassette locker. Now you have got a SOG unit on this one. So basically the idea behind the SOG unit is that it will break down whatever's inside the toilet cassette for you. I would always recommend putting blue fluid in there anyway, personally. But basically, to take the cassette out, you lift up on the little yellow tab down here and then pull the cassette towards you. You can then, if you need to take this out, you can then pull this piece off just here from the SOG unit, and that will be completely released. But basically, to empty it out, pull this handle towards you and take off this yellow cap, and then hold the yellow button just there as you're draining it out. That is it. Easy as that. So in the cab, got a couple of bits to run through. So you've got on the right hand side on the door, you've got your electric adjusting mirrors and electric windows. Washers and wipers are on the right hand stalk, indicators and lights are on the left. Down below we've got your bonnet release handle here above the clutch pedal, and the steering column adjustment just there above the accelerator pedal. You've got your 5-speed manual gearbox, and all of your sort of heater controls just here in the middle. So you've got the fan speed, temperature, and where the actual fan blows to. You've also got the hazard warning lights, fog lamp. This button on the left hand side would have been the original heated rear window. Ignore that, because it hasn't got the original heated rear window anymore, because it's been converted into a motorhome, so it's not there. So that button won't do anything at all. You've got an Alpine head unit up here. It does say Bluetooth on it, DAB, it's got CD slot in it as well. I can also see there's a couple of bits coming out the top here. So you've got like a USB point, aux point, and all that as well. So it's a nice high spec modern head unit in this one. You've got a curtain track running around the cab just here as well. So if you want to use the curtains around the cab at night, you can do that as well. That's it really. So I'm just going to turn around and jump into the back. Just trying to step over this, and then I'll shut the door. So first things first, I'm just going to show you the, sorry, I'm just stepping over this. It's got a tow bar bike rack with it, so I'm just trying to step over that. So we've got the control panel here as soon as we get in. Now this is a Sargent EC200, and this is kind of like a industry standard kind of control panel, if you like. These are used throughout lots and lots of different companies. Really sort of reliable and simple to use, I find. So go back to the home screen like that. It shows you a few things. It shows you that it's an EC200 and the sort of version it's working on, the time and the temperature. So all that sort of stuff is what you're going to get to see as soon as you turn the control panel on the main screen. We can then flick through, if you press the up button here, we can flick through various things. So I'm just trying to get it, there you go. So event timer, alarm, so you can set the alarm time, clock time, water tank fill. So that is for if you're going to have the pump plugged in outside. I mean, you don't have to use it like that, but basically what I would do personally is come to here where it says pump select, choose external, and then what that will do is it will turn the power onto your pump that you've got plugged in to the whale socket outside, and then allow you to draw the water through your external tank into the internal tank, if that makes sense. So whichever pump you've got, you can have it on both if you want to. But basically, if you want to draw water through the internal taps, you have to have the pump turned on an internal. If you want to draw the water through into the internal tank from the outside, from the point out there, you have to have it on external. So leave that on internal for now, and that'll allow you to use the taps inside. You've then got your wastewater level. I'll be honest with you, that's not actually true, the 100% full part. When the motorhomes don't get used for a little while, the prongs inside the tanks can get a little bit corroded. So hopefully in using the vehicle a little bit, that will just sort of wear off and it'll start reading correctly again. But unfortunately, there's not a huge amount you can do about that, apart from dropping the tank and putting some new sensors in and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully that'll sort itself out over time. The next one, fresh water, that is correct. So 25% full. I'll show you the top of the tank just down here in a minute, and then we'll be able to see a few things there as well. Vehicle battery voltage, leisure battery voltage, and then back to the home screen. So you've then got, on the left-hand side, you've got a main power switch, pump, auxiliary, and then battery select. All right, so basically, when you turn the main power switch on just there, it then gives anything that has 12-volt power, it allows it to work, basically. So that's just your main power switch there. Water pump, whichever pump that you've got selected on the pump select thing there, it will then turn on that pump. So at the moment we've got it turned on an internal, so when I turned that on just then, the internal pump ran for a second and got us up to pressure. Aux will be various things, so if something's been added aftermarket, it will probably be running from that aux switch. Sometimes some 12-volt sockets will be run from the aux switch. So, you know, to be honest with you, that's something that you'll just come to find. If you want something on that needs that, you just turn that on. And then the last one is a bit of a strange one. Well, it's not strange, but it's a bit of an unusual sort of thing to get your head around sometimes. So this switch here, basically what it does is it selects which battery, whether it be engine or leisure, is the one that powers your lights, your ignitions, all that sort of stuff. What it also does, because you've got the Sargent electrical unit in there, which I'll run you through in a minute, it also, if you have the hookup cable plugged in, it switches which battery is being charged. All right, so if I go back through here to the battery voltages. So vehicle battery, at the moment, the leisure battery is at 13.8 because that's the one that's being charged up, because I haven't got this light turned on. If the vehicle battery was a little bit low and I wanted actually the hookup to be charging the vehicle battery instead, I'd press this button, and if you watch the voltage, oh, there you go, you can now see the vehicle battery is now being charged up by the hookup because it's gone up to 13.2. All right, so now currently all these lights that I've got on, all that sort of stuff, anything that's being powered at all is being powered by the engine battery, but also the hookup is charging the engine battery. So if you want to change it between those, by pressing this button just here, select engine battery instead of leisure. Now for the most part, we're going to want to leave this one off because the leisure battery is the battery we want to be powering the lights. It's also the battery that we generally want the hookup to be powering. So we want to leave that button alone unless we want to charge the engine battery up. Okay, so first thing I'm going to run you through is, as I said, slip that. I'm going to run you through this down here. So this is the top of the tank, the fresh tank. Now, this little bank of cables here is all to do with the sensors to tell you the level inside the tank. And then we've got the access to the top of the tank there. As I said, you can see the little red bung in there. That's the drain off point. So if you want to pull that out, that will drain out all of the fresh water really, really quickly. But that's so that's basically where you can fill up the fresh tank from. If you sort of can't use that outside socket, you can put a hose into that. Okay, so right, so the first sort of appliance I'm going to get to is going to be this, which is your cooker system. So because it's a British built vehicle, they generally have the option of the electric or gas on the hobs. It only tends to be the British ones I find that have got this option. But basically, if you're hooked up on the mains, you can select the left-hand dial just here. Will basically just start heating up this ring at the back via the hookup. The rest of them, you've got an ignition switch and normal sort of household style ones to light any of them up. So easy as that. Basically just have a little look on here and look at the symbols and they'll tell you which ones do what. You've obviously then got the grill underneath and the oven down here as well. Underneath the oven, I suspect, will be... So you've got your pump just down there to the right. Nice and easy to get to. And the cable that's plugged in just there is basically the cable that's going to power that mains hot ring on the top. I'll just show you down here first as well. A bit of storage in here. Not sure what that is. Oh, that's going to be something to do with the speakers, I think. So storage in there. This is what I was looking for. So these are your gas isolator points. So the top one there is to do with the cooker. The middle one is the fridge, and the bottom one is the boiler. So if you wanted to isolate the gas from any specific appliances at one time, you can do that from there. Otherwise, if you want to just turn the gas off completely, just turn the bottle off in the outside locker. Right, so all of the lights in the vehicle have got specific individual switches on them, as you can see. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things you just can sort of go around and sort of find which lights you like and which ones you don't like. It's personal preference, really. Right, so the next thing I'm going to run you through is pretty important. So with the boiler, it's really important that you know that you cannot use it, or you shouldn't use it, unless you know that the boiler is actually full of water. So the only way that we can do that, the only way that we can be sure of that, if I just open up this cupboard down here. So over to the right, you can just about see it there. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So the little yellow tab that you can see just there, which is laying down flat at the moment, that there is the boiler drain off point. So if you need to drain the water out from the boiler, so if you're winterizing the vehicle basically, then that's where you would go to do that. Essentially what that means is, at the moment where it's laying down flat, any water that gets sent to it is going to stay inside. If it was coming up to winter, I would lift that upright and all the water would drain out, and that would stop it from sort of freezing up inside basically. So that is where the boiler drain off point is. That is a manual drain off point. Now the reason that I run you through that or explain that to you is that if you lit the boiler up to heat the water inside of it and it was empty, then if you can imagine sort of boiling an empty kettle, it's going to be exactly the same as that, where it's just going to be trying to heat up and there's nothing in there to heat up. So really important that you just make sure that it's full. And the only way to actually make sure that it's full is by, one, checking that that drain off point is laying down flat like it is now. And then also doing what I'm just going to do now. So turn the pump on, come over to the tap and just basically draw the water through cold. So we've got good pressure there, no air coming through, that's perfect. And then round to the left for the hot side. A little bit of air, but not very much. And that's it. That's now proven to me for an absolute fact that the boiler is full up of water. All right, so I'm done with the pump, switch it off. So the reason that that works, and the reason that the water coming through nice and clearly like that proves to me that the boiler's full, is because basically the way that the water systems work in the motorhomes is that you've got the boiler down here, you've got the fresh tank down there, and when you draw the water through the cold side of the tap, the water comes straight through directly from the tank straight to your tap. So that's simple. With the hot side, it has to go through the boiler first before it can get to your tap. So if the boiler isn't 100% full, you will not get water coming through the tap because it will fill the boiler up first before it is able to come to the tap. So that's why, just by putting the water through there on the hot side of the tap and seeing that the water is coming through, that's just proven to me that the boiler is definitely full. If you find that you sort of try to draw the water through on the hot side and nothing comes through, it just means one of a few things. It means that you've not got enough water in the tank to fill the boiler up, or it means that your boiler drain is down. Or, sorry, well, it's upright, but is draining out. So that's that. That is the sink. So absolutely stacks of storage in this vehicle. So you've got the original plates and drinks holder thing in there. Just loads of storage. All these overhead lockers up here available for storage, apart from this one just here. So this is your Sargent EC200. Now, basically, these systems are renowned for being really, really reliable. I personally, these are my favourite ones. That, you know, it's normally the British vehicles again that use these. So this would be Autocruise, Auto Trail, use these on nearly all of their vehicles. But the idea behind this is a power supply unit. You can see there, PSU, and what that means is that this one unit here sends the power to everything in the vehicle that needs power, basically. So we're hooked up on the mains at the moment. That's why our charger switch is lit up here, and that basically just tells us that the charger is working. The charger itself sits inside this box, so it's all integrated in this one box. On the left, we've got a diagram here telling you what each one of the 12-volt fuses here does, and what each one of the MCBs inside here does as well. So, for example, if we came into the vehicle one day and we couldn't get the ignition to work on the cooker, I would come in here, have a little look, and see that number 5, it says ignitions. It should be a 5 amp, it should be tan in colour, and that's that one there. So I would then just pop that one out, check that, make sure it's okay. If it's not, replace it, and then we should be good to go again. And that is why I love these systems, because they're so simple. You know, it's all in one place. You can't really go far wrong with it. Same goes for if you came into the vehicle one day, you've hooked up on the mains and you're convinced, definitely sure that it's working and it's on, plugged in, and the charger isn't working. I would come over here, have a little look through the MCBs. Number 3 says charger on it, and I would just come here and make sure that number 3 MCB is upright. And it's as easy as that. So that's your power supply unit. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to zoom out again. And yeah, so you don't have to do anything with that, but that's just, I'm just sort of showing you that that's where everything is powered from. Up here to the left of that, we've got the Sun Saver. This is your sort of solar panel controller, basically. So you can see there, 2 cables coming down from the solar, 2 cables going off to the battery. All right, so again, you haven't got to do anything with that. I'm just showing you that's where it is. So you've then also got Fox D1. So this is your battery display hardware, basically, just so you can see the battery voltage there. It's normally when you've got a solar panel plugged in as well that you'll have that. In the wardrobe just here, we've got the original standalone table just here, and your TV aerial as well. So if you undo this little bit at the top, like so, you can then push this up, and they call these tilt and turn aerials because you can basically move it wherever you want to move it in order to pick up a decent signal. All the paperwork for the vehicle is in this box just here. And that's it. Other than that, it's just absolutely stacks of storage. Right, so down below, we've got this, which is your 3-way Dometic fridge. So 3 different functions that you can use this on. So you've got gas at the top, which we're on at the moment, 240 volt and 12 volt. So the gas and the 240 are the only 2 that will get the fridge cold, which might sound stupid, but I'll explain. The bottom one just here, the 12 volt one, all it really does is keeps the fridge cold whilst you're driving. So essentially you need to pre-cool the fridge before you leave, either on gas or mains, and then switch over to the bottom one here, 12 volt, just for when your engine's running and you're driving. And the reason for that is that the 12 volt function on there is physically powered by the engine, so it will not work unless the engine's running, and it's not quite powerful enough to get the fridge cold by itself. So that's why you have to pre-cool it before you leave, and also why it will only work when your engine's running. So, as I said, at the moment I've got it lit up on gas. Just put this open. So I've got it lit up on gas at the moment. To do that, to light it up on gas, all you have to do is literally just turn it once to the right. What will happen is the electronic ignition will come on and it should just light up for you. So if we just do that now, there you go. So you can see there we've got a solid amber light there. Until the gas flame is lit, this little amber light will be flashing like crazy. And so if you can see a solid amber light in there, it means that your flame is lit. The next one down is the hookup. So you can see in there, I've now chosen hookup, and that's now going to be basically using the hookup's power to cool the fridge down. And the bottom one, as I say, will only work when the engine's running. So that's it. That is the fridge. Easy as that. Right, so the last appliance, or the last two appliances, sorry, are your heating and hot water. So what I'm going to do is show you the heating first, because that's more simple. So the heating is diesel only, all right? So this is an Eberspacher or Eberspacher, however you want to say it, heating system. So it truly is as easy as this. If you want to have just cool air pumping around the vehicle, press this little bottom button here and the blue light will come on. And essentially what will happen is any of the little beige vents at the floor height just there will start blowing around cool air, which is why it gives you a blue light. All right, so that's cool air only. You can turn that off by pressing the middle button just there, and that is now completely off. If I press the top one up here, we get the red light come on, and that means that the diesel heater will start drawing a little bit of diesel through from your fuel tank, and it will just start ticking away outside and heating up the inside. So it works in a very similar way to the fan only one, where it will sort of blow around from the same place at the bottom of the out of these vents at the bottom. But the difference is you'll hear a ticking noise outside. Sometimes when you first start using these, they can be a little bit smelly, like a sort of an older diesel car might smell. One of those things, I'm afraid. It's sort of, you know, if you haven't used them for a little while, you know, a lot, they do get a little bit smelly when you use them. But the more you use it, the less that smell will happen. But that's it. That is how you use the diesel heating. So press the top button there to get the red light on in order for the van to heat up. The bottom one with just the fan is just cool air. And then the middle button turns it off. And that's it. So that is your heating. So just here, as you can see, we've got the Avtex TV. This is where Autocruise assumed that you're going to have a TV, because they've given you a main socket, a 12-volt socket, and an aerial point there as well. So this is basically where they're saying you should have a TV here. So that's where that is. That's why they've got the TV there. On the right, just below the heater controller, we've got this one here that says Ultra Store. Now, sorry for my shaky hand. I can't really do much about that at the moment. So the Ultra Store switch here, this is how you use the boiler. All right, so this is how you get your hot water on gas. So if you want to use the hot water on gas, you just turn the switch on the outside round once. The boiler will light up, and then you can select your temperature anywhere between 30 and 70 degrees. So leave that about half an hour to an hour, and you'll have hot water coming through any of your taps. And again, it really is as easy as that. The only thing you have to be sure of with the boiler when you're trying to light that up is that you've taken the little cover, the plastic cover, off the outside, because that's really important. It will not work if you don't take that cover off. Okay, so that's how you light the boiler up on gas. If you have the mains hookup plugged in, you can also heat the water up via the mains cable, and that's just literally by pressing this button here. So again, after half an hour to an hour or so, you'll have hot water coming through the taps. Make sure, it's really important, make sure that you turn this switch off when you're finished with it, because if you plug the mains cable in one day and you've left this switch on, if you haven't got any water in the boiler, you're going to run into some problems where it's going to overheat. So only use this switch as and when you need to. So, I think, to be honest with you, I think that's about it. I think that's about all that there is in the vehicle. Certainly the only appliances that I can sort of run you through. I'll tell a lie, I haven't shown you in the bathroom yet. One sec. So we've got the left and right hot and cold mixer tap there for the sink. Exactly the same for the shower. And you can see there the shower point up the top there. The toilet is the bit that I normally actually run through because the rest of it's just self-explanatory normally. You've essentially just got... well, the only thing I will say with this is that you've got a freshwater flush. So you do have to have a little bit of water in the fresh tank and the pump turned on at the control panel in order to use the flush. But basically, the blue button here is your flush. And then round to the left of the toilet, you've got this little sort of grey handle. Pull this towards you and that will drain anything that's in the bowl here into the cassette. Push it back and that puts the cassette flap back away. You've got a heating duct in here in the bathroom, and sometimes if you obviously when you go camping, things get dirty and wet. So some people, because the bathroom is essentially a wet room, if you use the wet room here as like a drying place for your clothes and whatever, then it normally works really well because you've got a heating duct down there as well. So it's just a little tip. But yeah, so I think that's about it really. If I've missed anything out, then please let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.